Good morning, everybody. Let's take a quick tour of the before of our work week, and then I'm going to show you everything we have been doing. Okay, so I'm going to do this really quick. I was not able to film while we were working and do like a time lapse. I thought about it, but my husband really does not like being on camera. And since he's doing a lot of this, like he's running the skid steer right there, I didn't want to do that because he really does not enjoy being on camera. I've caught him a few times and he's been meh about it, but this would be like a lot of him, so I didn't want to do that to him. So we had 4 piles of chips, like where the skid steer is. It was free chips from an arborist that came and took down trees for us in the front. This is compost, and then what's left of this is mulch, and then this is engineered soil, which is like screen topsoil mixed with compost. So this is the in-ground garden areas, and we're trying to do this in a no-till style and do it right this time. So you can see there is some cardboard under here, but not a ton. And some of it is actually pushed up over there. So I had a phone call and had to stop videoing. So hopefully the Bobcat or skid steer, which they're pretty much the same thing, but this is not the Bobcat brand, is not too loud. So I moved to the back in-ground garden, which is already done. And this is kind of where the potatoes will be. So you can see there's like, I want to say 5 to 6 inches of the wood chips and compost, or not compost, wood chips / mulch, because we didn't have quite enough wood chips to finish. So we were using the mulch on a solid layer. And again, there is some cardboard down. This side actually has more cardboard than the other. And it kind of gets torn up a little bit when he's turning around with the skid steer. And then these piles, it's like a bucket load of the engineered soil, a bucket load. So he has formed my rows. So we have a U shape here that comes around and down and then goes beside the greenhouse. So that's one big bed. Then we have a bed here and then another one over there, which I actually need to flatten out a little bit because he had to go up on the high tunnel where we had to build it up to create a flat space because our land slopes. So there's a pad right there for the high tunnel, and so he had to go up on it and dump over. So I've got to flatten that one down a little bit, but that's it. So there's just a walkway that kind of goes around that center aisle, and I was originally going to do pumpkins in the center on a trellis, but I think because I bought so many potatoes, I'm probably going to have to use this whole entire area for potatoes and sweet potatoes, which I only have 12 sweet potatoes, so I'll put them back here to grow up on the chicken coop like they did last year. That worked really well. So there's that, and we'll go down here. I am working on weeding this side of the garden right now. Look at all my volunteer sunflowers. I probably should pull them up, but I really hate pulling up volunteer sunflowers. So I've been working on this today while he's been doing this. So this is the other side, and he is working on making me some rows on this side now. So we're gonna do 4 rows so we can do the cattle panel arches. So there will be one here to here and here to here. I originally, when in one of my other videos, which I'll link, and I was in the greenhouse and I explained what I wanted to do, I was gonna run them long ways, but we did not really have enough room doing it this way with the bucket. If I had done it with a wagon and made narrower rows, I could have done it long ways, but doing it this way, we couldn't really get 4 rows in. It would have been more like 3, just the way the machine has to turn around, and it's kind of a small space. You can see compared to the Bobcat how it's not that big of a space. So we're gonna have shorter rows, but that's still probably 3 cattle panels long, and so I think it's going to be plenty of room to do what I want. And I'll come in and smooth some of this out. I think it's going to be really cool. And I know I'm going to have some weed issues because where he's digging it up with the bobcat, he's getting some of the grass on the edges, especially with the chips because they'd been there so long. He's ignoring me, which is good. That's why I'm filming. He's got his headphones on, listening to music, just doing his thing. Alright, so out there, I'll go back and look. I know I showed it in one video, but we had all those cattle panels set up in the long line. Let me come back over here on this side away from the machine, so because I don't have my microphone on. So we had the cattle panels in 3 rows all the way down, so there was 300-foot rows of cattle panels, and I put tomatoes on them last year, and I probably had 280 tomato plants out there, but they never did well because we kept having something pull them up for like the first couple months, and I had to, well, first I lost my tomatoes in a late freeze. They were in the greenhouse and air got underneath and froze the tray. It was sitting on the floor, and we lost them, and I had to start again. And so I started them late, and then we put them out there, and something came in and like dug them all up, and I lost a bunch, so I had to start more. And so they really did not get in until June, and it got so hot that a lot of them just never took off. So we only pulled, we really did not pull that much off of them. We pulled less tomatoes out there than we did in my smaller, raised bed garden. So that was kind of a failure, and we did it with the black fabric, which I've had good luck with in the past. So you can see the black fabric, we've pulled it up and it's kind of laying over the fence over there. So this whole area is fenced in. So the high tunnel is fenced in, or the high tunnel pad is fenced in, and this is all fenced in so the chickens cannot get in. And it keeps the deer out too, which we haven't really had a problem with deer since the housing development went in. I think they've kind of run them out. But so we are not going to be planting anything in that area this summer. We are actually going to try to get the arches up and get some beds built, because I want to do basically mimic this. I may not do it long ways. I may do like short beds in the middle and then long beds on the outside. I'm not sure how I'm going to lay it out yet, but I want predominantly raised beds in the high tunnel. I just work better that way, and I know me, I work better that way. But we want to get the arches up, and if nothing else, get the beds built. And if possible, we will get the plastic on it hopefully this fall, and I can plant some things in there for the fall and kind of through the winter. But I want it ready to go for spring next year. That is my goal, is to actually have that space completed. But this spring, getting these 2 in-ground areas and my greenhouse redone, that was key for this spring. And I am running late on doing it, but it is getting done, and I am so happy about that. So I'm really hoping that this method works in these spaces. So, and if it does, we actually may end up taking this fencing down and joining the 2 spaces somehow. But for right now, this is what it is. and I am super happy to get this done. So I am going to get back to weeding that area up there. I do need to come in and pull out my broccoli because it all bolted on me with these 90-degree days. We had a few, and it bolted. Like, they were starting to head up, and then boom, just, it is what it is. So I've been pulling a few at a time and giving them to the chickens. But now that I've got spring stuff ready to come in, I'll probably come and rip all this out. I did rip some out right there. And I need to harvest all that lettuce too. So I'll probably pull that out too. But the peas are doing amazing. Aren't they awesome? All right. So once I get this weeded and started planting up, I'll actually do a garden tour. I only have this half of the garden done, so I don't really want to do a full garden tour. But once we get that section done and then these two outer sections, I'll do a full garden tour. So hopefully in the next few weeks. So another thing that we did while we have the bobcat here, I keep the skid steer, it's not a bobcat. This is our compost area, and this tree fell and it kind of got overgrown here. We were going to use these pallets to kind of form the boxes or whatever, but he's kind of come in and flattened it out, cleaned it up, and put our piles a little bit back and kind of turned everything, which is awesome. So he actually pushed it further back than it was too. So we'll see how that works when we fence all this in for the goats, because we're going to let them have all of that. It's hiding the barn. You can't even see that part of the barn. So we're going to fence all that in, let the goats eat it. But he did that. We'll just take a quick tour. He's done so much work today. So this is our big brush pile that we need to burn. And he came in and pushed it up and added this log to it, which it looks like a massive log, but it's this paloma wood or cottonwood, whatever it is. It's really light. There's like no weight to it, even though it looks massive. And it was right here. He cut this tree down beside the chicken coop. So he came in and got that and scraped up this area a bit. The rest of it we can move by hand. So this opens up this area because it was kind of blocking it for a while. And this is the back of the chicken coop. So we're on the back side of the garden. So this area right here. You can see the new garden area that we just did. So we're actually going to extend the chicken coop all the way over to the wall where the high tunnel will go up. So this hot mess right here will actually be inside the chicken coop all the way up to the garden. And this is a old rabbit house that a neighbor gave us. It was on his land down in the back. So we're going to turn it into a duck house for when this area gets done. And that's actually the roof to it. So this will be the back of the high tunnel. You can see it's raised up right there. You can't see the wall. Well, there it is. So this will be the high tunnel. And then this is our original beehive, and we were planning on keeping all the bees back here. But when we split that hive, we had to move them. Boy, they're active right now. And then that's our berry patch, which actually needs quite a bit of work. And then one of the neighbor's trees had actually fallen. It's on the property line, and part of it was kind of over onto our part, and it's just been sitting there for a while. So he just kind of pushed it back to the edge of the tree line because it was sticking like way out here and we couldn't mow back there. So he pushed that back, so that helps. I can't wait to get that burnt, and then I'll be able to see my goats back there when we get them. Right now he's cleaning up and adding just the extra bits of, hi girls. But I know y'all want out, but y'all can't get out right now. No ma'ams. No ma'ams. Because you'll be all over that bobcat. No ma'ams. No sirs. Y'all can't either. All right. So he is cleaning up a couple areas. A lot of that soil and dirt that was on the bottom of the piles had a lot of grass in it, so he's just taking it back there to add to the compost piles, which will actually help that. And then I think the last thing he's going to do once he gets everything straightened up is this little hot mess over here. We had a wood pile here, and it's just kind of, we had yellow jackets in it, and the weeds kind of took it over because we tried killing the yellow jackets. And they should be, I haven't seen any, so hopefully he doesn't get into any. But I think he's going to try to clean up this hot mess. That'll be nice. That we need is wood slabs to finish off the treehouse walls, so we can't really finish that yet. Which we can do that by hand. It's just piles of slabs from Dad's sawmill. So we've just got to go through and see what can be used. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it, that's what we're building the walls of our son's treehouse with, is the slabs. So we got to finish that project. But yeah, so I think this is the last little bit right here that he is going to do, is this hot mess pile right here. I still have one compost pile up here that I need to do, but I still have a lot of these beds that I've been weeding today to add to. He did this outside row for me because he was able to dump it over the fence, and then he did that box over there for me because he could get to it, but the rest of them he can't really get to. So I'll be doing that little bit. He's going to take this to the compost pile, and then that little bit I'll do by wagon. And then he cleaned up around this tree trunk here. This was one of those god-awful Bradford pear trees, and it fell in a storm, and all those branches sprouted back off of it. And those are not the Bradford pear graftings. It's whatever the tree that they were grafted onto is, and it's obnoxious. I hate it. But so he did this one for me, so I'll rake it down into that one and some into that one, and then the rest I'll do by hand. But this is the other area that I had started showing you. So instead of going, let me get in the shade, instead of going long ways like I had planned in 4 rows, he went vertical with the greenhouse. So we'll do tunnel, cattle panel tunnel, and then from here to there, here to there. So I think I should be able to get 3 to 4. So these rows are good size rows. I mean, the greenhouse is 12 feet long, so they are a little over 12 feet. So they're like 14, 15 feet because they stick out past the greenhouse, some further than others. And then I could technically get another row up there. I may have him do that. We'll see. I'll let him finish what he's doing. I don't want to bug him. I was hoping to have enough mulch to do this area, but what I may have to do is just get some bags, so bag mulch, and not do it that thickly. I could probably rake a little bit of this over there, but it's all right. I mean, in worst case scenario, I can weed eat it. It's not like it's that much. It goes right into the back of my greenhouse. Here's another view of the potato area. So here's my U shape that goes around that I'll do potatoes, sweet potatoes. This I will have to flatten out some, and I'll do potatoes here. And I was hoping to do an arch in the center and do pumpkins, like mini pumpkins, not big ones, and have them grow up the arch. But I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if that's wide enough to do that. I may play with it, because I don't think those are deep rooted. So if I spread that out a little bit, I might be able to do that. But yeah, so that's it. This will kind of come this way. And like I said, the chicken lot, we are going to extend it all the way over to this line. So here's the wall. And the high tunnel wall, you can actually see the side rails going down for the wall. We actually need to pull this up and put the black fabric down first, because as you can see, it's a hot mess over there. So we're going to pull this back up and put the black fabric down on this whole thing. But yeah, so the chicken lot will come from here all the way over, so you won't have access. We originally wanted access to this side so we could get the truck in there, and I was going to put flowers all back there, but we need the extra room for the chickens. It looks like I have a lot of chickens, and I do, but we have multiple lots, but we've got more babies, so we're going to expand it out this way, and then we'll probably add another section on that other side too, so they'll have more room. And you know, that's when they're not free ranging. But yeah, so I am super excited about this no-till area, and we'll see how it does. Thanks for joining us on this tour of all the work that we put in when we rented the skid steer and the new garden spaces and all the cleanup that we've done. I am just so impressed with how much we were able to do, and I'm so excited for all these spaces to fill in, be planted, and all the spaces we cleaned up to grow back in with grass. I think it's going to look fantastic. So thanks for joining us on this kind of property tour, workday tour, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye, y'all.